Well, well, well. Welcome
Are we
to.
starting?
Yes, that was my intro.
That was the
Welcome
intro.
to.
Well.
Maybe we'll make it permanent, turn it into a jingle. Welcome to our first episode of the 30 something podcast. I'm Tanya.
Welcome. Oh, I'm Sasha.
And you will find that we happen to be sisters. Actually, I just realized our voices are so similar that listeners might get really confused on this podcast.
Should I put on an accent or maybe like a wheezy voice?
Yeah, you put on a different accent every time we record an episode. I'll
Every
just
episode.
be me. Yeah.
Maybe you should do that because you're better at accents.
No, I reckon if you're a loyal listener, eventually you'll pick up the difference and the slight difference in our accents.
Our parents can pick up the difference, so
Yeah, they'll probably be the
it's
only
possible.
ones watching this anyway.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Anyway, so welcome. This is our first episode and very, very excited to go on this journey, I suppose, with you.
Long time coming.
Our listeners. I suppose so.
I've been coughing for 4 weeks.
Oh, yes. We've had to cancel our first recording about 3 times. I was worried I was getting sick as well, but I seem to be fending it off. So I guess by way of a little intro, we'll get into sort of like how we got here, why we're doing this in a second. But welcome to all of you listeners near and far. This
all of
podcast,
you 2 listeners.
all of you 2 or 3 loyal buddies. Today is going to be a bit of a, just like an intro, I guess, to who we are, why the hell we're doing this, and maybe a little bit about where we are in our lives. As you can tell by the name, 30 something, it should give you a good clue as to, I guess, how old we are or the phase of life we are in. We are both 30 something, indeed. And perhaps some listeners will be as well. And
Indeed.
we be out here just figuring out what the effing F it all means.
What's our policy on swearing?
I think
hell is okay, but F is not okay.
I'm okay with that, actually.
We draw the line at hell.
It would be nice for like mums to be able to, or mums or dads really, to be able to listen to this while cooking or something and their kids are in the background maybe. Don't know if hell is a stretch in that context. But F feels like a stretch in that context.
Okay.
What do you think?
I mean, I guess it depends on the kids. How old are they?
Let's say the age at which they start to absorb your words.
Well, then you shouldn't say hell or stupid.
No. Stupid, in fact, stupid is a big no-no in this relationship. Maybe one day we'll get into it, but stupid is a trigger word.
By the way, I say stupid. I'm saying stupid, ironically, for anyone who's wondering. However, in Tanya's accent, she does say stupid. So
sometimes I do say stupid.
That's one difference. If we ever do say that word,
it'll be.
Well, I say stupid ironically all the time, though.
Anyway, me too.
Carry on. Sorry.
Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes, I was just giving a bit of an overview, really, about what we're going to talk about today, and I think I did that. So I reckon we pretty much get straight into it. But before I do that, obviously, if you are a real one and you want to be nice and supportive, subscribe to whatever channel you're watching this on. Follow, share if you like, comment, give us feedback. If you're on a platform where you can give us a review, like Spotify, You can give us a 5-star review. You may not give us a 4-star, a 3-star, a 2-star, a 1-star review. If you are one of those people, just don't give a review. Why?
I don't agree
Why?
with you.
This is an interesting topic, I think. Like, I've got my own philosophy about when you give reviews and when you don't. Like, if
Okay.
you want to give an Uber driver 5 stars, give them the 5 stars. If you're going to give them a 4, why? Don't do it. If they're a 1 or maybe a 2, then I think it makes sense because then it's like you're warning future customers of whatever bad experience you had. But if you're like, yeah, 3-star, 4-star, why? Why? It's
To
just
give more
some
data.
person. Yeah, but it's just some person trying to make a living.
Okay, but it's not about that person. We don't write a review for that person. We write a review for everybody else.
Yeah, but it has a direct impact on that person and their livelihood.
Yeah, but that's not my. They gave me a 4-star service, so that's their livelihood on the line that they they decided. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
saying
this
that
is
it's like. I mean, it is literally they deserve it.
it's debatable. I think that's a really interesting one. I think if you were
If
like
you think we
Amazon,
deserve a 3-star review, Tanya doesn't want it. I'd be happy to know.
okay. Well, each to their own. I think I think if you're like a big organization or something, if you're like Amazon customer service, by all means give the data as accurately as you can. If you're like some independent artist or like a couple of podcasters, give us a 5-star.
Hmm.
Anyway, so there you go. That's your call to action, I suppose. And I really
And let
hope
us
that,
know. Let us know in the comments what you think the worst bad word is that we can say.
yeah, we got to know our limits in different languages too, because we know plenty of
Yes,
swear words
separate
in different
comment for
languages.
each language that you know.
Yeah. Okay. So, what do you think, Sasha? We start with a little bit of background as to how the heck we got here starting this podcast.
Okay, you go.
Okay. Well, there's a lot I could say here, but I guess I'll try and be succinct about it, I suppose. Which is, I'm in a stage of my life, so I'm 30. I just turned 30 last year. And Sasha is?
32, baby.
Yeah. So we're pretty early in the stages of being 30. But a lot has been going on internally and as a result, externally in my life, to
Be
say
as
the least.
vague as possible.
Yeah, I'm not
A
ready to
lot has
go.
been going on internally and externally. What does that even mean?
Well, if you get it, you get it. But yeah, a lot of like deep reflection going on, I suppose. And I guess maybe a year ago, I was like, I've got so many freaking questions in my head about this phase of life that we're in and what it all means. What should I be prioritizing? How do I want to move through in my life? And I was like, I would really love to just start interviewing my friends or people I know and just having very intentional conversations with them where I ask them questions about these things and just have a space to talk openly about the stuff that's going on in my own head. And then the more I sort of ruminated on that idea, I was like, yeah, it'd be really fun to record them too, and maybe just share them with my community, my network, whatever. And then thought about that even more and was like, it would be really, really fun to do that with my sister, Sasha, because we're in a similar stage of life, I suppose. And we're best friends. We get on very, very well. We always have fun chatting with one another, and we've got quite different perspectives, I'd say. So I thought it would be a very fun exercise to do it with you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I came to Sa with the idea,
Is
and
someone
then,
flushing the toilet?
oh, you can hear that? No.
Is it you?
I'm in the basement. I'm in the basement, and there's a pipe on the ceiling that is connected to a toilet,
Oh,
both in our house and the neighbor's house. So
right.
that sucks that you can hear that. I'm gonna
It's
have to.
quite clear. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, I'm sorry, guys. You're gonna just have to imagine it is some like lovely warm gust of wind through the trees outside
Oh,
for now. How's that?
nice imagery.
Okay. So anyway, so I came to you with this idea, Sa, and over to you.
Okay, well, from my perspective, any excuse to just talk to Tanya for ages, I was like, sure. And that's pretty much. I'm not in as philosophical, like lots of things changing internally and externally place. Um, but, I think I'm always up for deep convos. Does anyone say convos anymore?
Um, Convos.
Chitty
I don't
chats?
tend to see that outside of text messages,
Hmm. Well, anyway,
but
deep chitty chats. And yeah,
chitty
that's
chitty
pretty
bang
much it.
bangs.
That's why I'm here. I'm not into being an influencer or anything. If that happens, just know that I'm resistant and disgruntled as an influencer.
So you're just faithfully here as my void to shout into and to reflect back to me the stupidity that is my brain.
Uh, yeah, okay. If you want to think of it that way, I don't see it that way.
Okay, good. So there we are. And for you listeners out there, I'd be really interested to see, what it is you enjoy in this. I would hope that you would primarily just have a sense of company, maybe, or, some things that we talk about might make you feel a bit less alone, or whatever silliness goes down up in here might give you a bit of laughter or joy, and maybe an insight or two. Who knows? We'll see what we can drudge up
Mm.
from the depths of our wisdom as 30-something-year-old women.
Are you going to allow me to correct your English?
Oh, yes, please. Yes,
I think
because I
it's
really
dredge up. I'm pretty sure.
dredge,
Yeah.
dredge up, drudge up. Yeah, maybe. I might be confusing it with grudge.
Mm. I mean,
Sasha, Sasha is very good at English because she, she happens to
because
be
I've
an
been
English
speaking it
teacher.
my whole life, like
No,
since I
she's
was
an
like a year old.
yeah, but she's an English teacher. So my whole life she hasn't always been an English teacher her whole life, but my whole life she's been, I guess, better at language than me in ways. So you've always been the one to
Yeah, I
correct me.
guess.
So, what was I saying? Yeah, basically, hopefully you'll take whatever you can from this. All you three fans out there. Um, and so to start, I guess I gave a bit of an overview of. I say to start like we haven't already been talking for 20 minutes. Bit of an overview of like, okay, crazy little period in my life where a lot is changing. But it's
So
interesting
maybe just
to,
summarize it in not in like all the thoughts happening and everything, but if you were to summarize it in one or two sentences, what's going on with you?
right, what's going on with me? Well, I've moved country. I'm changing career. and have ended a very long term relationship all at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And in and around that, lots of different reflections and questions about my life and what I envision for myself moving forward. But it's been a period of real, I don't want to use negative words because I think overall it's very positive, but a lot of turbulence, I suppose, and maybe instability, doubt, questioning of the self. But despite all this, the negative framing of that overall, I think really for me, it's been a period of unfolding. And in a way, like coming home to myself, maybe. That's a bit of a cheesy way of putting it, but it really
Oh, I
does feel
like
like a
it.
coming home to myself. It's like, I think in your 20s, and maybe other people resonate with this, you you're experimenting with who you are in a way. You put on lots of different versions of yourself. You put yourself in lots of different types of spaces. And if you get to the end of your 20s feeling like, yeah, a lot of that ended up being a no, I didn't want that. That didn't feel like me. Then that's your 20s well spent in a way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I guess homecoming in the sense that, okay, so how do I really peel back the layers now and reconnect with the parts of myself that have always been truly me deep down, and strip away the stuff that doesn't serve you anymore or doesn't truly align with you in an authentic way. And what does it look like to start building what it is you do want, brick by brick? And it's a bit of a scary place to be honest.
Yeah, that was
Pretty
a good 2 or
unnerving.
3 sentences.
Oh my god, yeah, I forgot about that brief. Did not hit the brief there.
But that's what the whole podcast is about, right? So I guess that's a pretty good summary. Lots of metaphors that we can come back to.
Yep, lots of metaphors. Might get a couple of similes in there eventually. But yeah, like the older I get, there's this juxtaposition of like the more wise I feel and the more confused I am.
Hmm.
Do you know what I mean? It's like you end up with more questions than you have answers at
Yeah.
this stage of life.
Yeah.
And maybe that's okay.
Well,
Lots
isn't
of
it
good
true that the
questions.
more you know about something, the less you perceive yourself to know about something in general after a
Yeah.
certain beginner stage?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. You sort of like go past the surface and you're like, ooh, there's a lot here. I'm never going to understand this. There's
Mm,
a bit of a humility there.
mm.
But what about you, Sa? I know you maybe don't feel the same as I do in your journey through your 30s so far, but how would you describe where you are right now in your 30s?
Hmm. Well, to be honest, the last 2 years or so have been greatly affected by what's going on with you. Because
Mm.
we used to live together and we were living together with your partner for long enough and in a very comfortably that it was like, okay, well then this is life, and my all my short-term goals were based upon having that foundation. And then when things really changed with you, it changed for me as well. So I guess I've been going through quite a few changes in the last year or so, but they're not, I guess you would say, changes externally, but not internally.
Mm-hmm.
I've had to move and I'm moving again. And I have this dream, a big dream of getting a dog.
Oh, yes. The dream.
The dream. And I've had to put it off every year for a couple of years now. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just here. I'm just riding on the waves a little bit, trying to find my settled foundation again. But
Mm. Do you feel
it's
like
not.
that's your priority right now is like foundation building?
Yeah, I guess so. Um, and I don't know if I would say I have a one priority right now in life in my 30s. I think I'm just kind of taking it as it comes, which is like, I guess, something that we've disagreed on in the past a little bit about the way that I approach my life
Okay,
since
say
my
more.
mid 20s. You've kind of come to me like, well, what's your plan B? What are you going to do if this falls through or blah blah blah? I'm like, I don't know. I think like my 20s were so turbulent, and I had such a kind of transformation of approach to life in my 20s that
Mm.
maybe you're going through now. That since then I've just been like kind of coasting and happy about it.
Mm.
Just like
Yeah.
I just like life as it is. I'll take life as it comes. I'm kind of like that. That's where I am.
Mm. It's a lot like our dad.
Mm,
Similar attitude.
mm,
I mean, I think you've always been a bit like that anyway, but I have seen this sense of peace in you, I think, arise in your 20s around that. Like, just embracing what is and
yeah,
finding things you're grateful for and finding peace in what your life is, which I
yeah.
think is
And
great.
as cheesy as it sounds, just enjoying the moment.
Oh, that's not cheesy at all.
I
That's all
think
there
it's
is.
really like yes, but like I didn't really understand that until I had such bad mental health that it was impossible to enjoy any moment. And then
Mm,
once you come out of it, just to be able to enjoy a moment, even just like brushing your teeth,
mm,
I can feel happy right now. Like just that is like the biggest blessing gift.
yeah,
And so I kind of just have been enjoying that for several years. Like I'm just happy that I'm not
yeah.
depressed as
Oh, depressed as F. Yeah, I feel you on that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I
like,
don't know. I feel pretty like stable internally in my 30s. But we'll
mm,
see. Anything could happen.
oh my goodness, yeah. Anything can happen. I'll tell you that for sure.
Mm.
Anything can happen. It can even come from you and you have no idea it's coming. Like you suddenly want change or you suddenly want something else and you just don't see it coming. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But the moment is all we have indeed. I mean, that's a lesson that, like, obviously we all know that. But I think I really internalized that lesson in my 20s as well, you know, having anxiety. Maybe on another episode we can talk about our, if we feel like it, experiences with depression and anxiety and mental
Our
health and
brain
stuff. But
deficiencies.
yeah, but yeah, like anxiety is often about, well, for some people, there's an element of like you focusing on the future, maybe less so the past, maybe more so the future. But
Mm.
yeah, remembering that the moment is all you have, the present moment is helps.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is all very vague. Is there anything specific you'd like to talk about?
Good question.
How about what
To be
was it
honest,
like to turn 30? What was that day like or that week like?
okay. So I turned 30 last year in July. Leading up to it, I'd already had maybe a year of change, turbulence in ways, and was already feeling that switch internally before I even turned 30. But it was like oh my God, I'm being plunged into this next chapter of my life without really knowing what it's going to look like. But when I hit 30, I guess it was a practical milestone to be like, yeah, it makes sense. I'm feeling this way. And it kind of helped me embrace 30 because I was already kind of excited about what those changes will look like and who I will be to myself in the next chapter of life. But it was scary. It was scary and honestly, like a little bit sad to look back on my 20s and be like, that was it. That was your chance to live your 20s.
Yeah.
And you have a moment of pause like, is that what I wanted it to be?
Mm.
In many ways, the answer is yes, I think for me.
What was it like having
Yeah.
all your friends there?
Yeah, so I did a big birthday bash where a bunch of friends flew over to Portugal and we rented a nice villa in this cute beach town and did some surfing and did some fun stuff. And it was a really nice moment to like kind of take stock of those relationships that you spend years nurturing. A lot of those people, some of those people I knew from school, so like teen years, some of them from uni, some of them from my time in London. But yeah, it was like a nice moment to take stock and look at all the important love and relationship that you build in your life, and to have them all there to celebrate with me was very touching.
Mm.
I just came back from a big 30th birthday weekend from one of my best friends here in Portugal as well. And it was so beautiful.
Who?
This is only vaguely related, but who? I'll tell you later. I don't
Oh.
want to say names, just
Okay.
at the farm, in Portugal.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Does
Yeah.
that give
Yeah.
you the
Yeah.
clue?
Yeah.
And there's like 25 of us there or something.
Mm.
And we didn't really do very much, but it was so fun. It was just so fun. A bit exhausting socially. It's like a full weekend. Like you would have struggled. Even I struggled. Full weekend of just like chatting away with people, drinks
Yeah.
in hand. But honestly, beautiful people. Like this friend of mine, one of my favorite people in the world, and I really trust her judgment in friends. So the friends I've met through her, like I always love.
Mm.
So it was a beautiful experience.
Mm.
What was it like for you turning 30?
All those years ago. Well, to be honest, I had a little bit of those kinds of thoughts that you expect at 30 when I turned 28. When I turned
Mm.
28, I think within that same week, one of my oldest friends bought a flat. And I think that was like one of the big things. There were a couple of things around that time that made me feel like, oh, I'm not doing like the things that are expected at this age.
Mm.
I'm nowhere near where some other people are in terms
Yeah.
of having a romantic relationship, in terms of financials, in terms of whatever it might be. Um, and time goes by, and then by the time I was 30, I was just like, I already
Webs.
had all those webs. Yeah, webs. I'm 30 now. Woohoo! I was kind of like, I don't know. I just heard that your 30s are better than your 20s. So
I have heard the same. Yeah.
I was looking forward to it. It was like, okay, well, I didn't feel like necessarily that, oh, I'm much older or anything. I just felt like hopefully these years will be less difficult than the 20s.
Or you
The
have different
20s,
types of
the 20s,
difficulties, you know,
yeah. The 30s, yeah, they're kind of tough as well, depending on where you are, I think. Like if
in
you're going
life.
through something, yeah, if you're going through something like you are, or if you're in a kind of position like I am, which is I'm still single at 32 years old and I have been since my mid 20s. I haven't got like a very high or well paying job. I'm just kind of like doing a job that thankfully I love. So I'm very
Yeah.
lucky in that way, but it's not like, I suppose, what you might call respectable. And I'm not,
That's that's
as
respectable.
I mean that I'm not like a manager or something like that, like that you would expect
Manager.
people who are older to be. And
Okay.
I'm not saving any money because I live in London and
Hmm.
I don't have my own home and I haven't got a dog.
No.
If you ain't got a dog, why are you even here?
Amen. Yeah, I guess so. Um, yeah, I get you. I guess in ways I'm in a similar position, not totally, but yeah, and comparison is the thief of joy, as they say, and it's really
Hmm.
difficult to avoid that comparison around this
Comparison
age
is the
because
thief of joy, and perfection is the enemy of good. Is it?
good.
What is it? Don't let perfection be the enemy of good.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, like a lot of the people I've surrounded myself with over the years have a lot of them, to be fair, were a little bit older than me, because my ex-partner was a fair bit old, a little bit older than me. So watching them hit all those milestones, I think maybe I started to feel that comparison quite early in a way. But if I'm looking at my age of friends now, honestly, I, I don't think I don't think if I compare milestones with them, I'm in a pretty good position. But you don't want to do that anyway, right? But I think like I've only had was is it maybe one wedding of my actual school friends, and there's a second one coming up now. Even though I've been to like 50 other weddings of people older than me. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is the point is it's not very helpful, is it, to be measuring yourself up against other people's rulers and
Yeah, I tend not to do that. I think like when I turned 28 was the time that I was like, oh, well, hold on. And then, yeah, I think that's why I'm pretty like, well, whatever about the 30s.
yeah,
But not that I'm not interested in the topic of our podcast.
of
It
course.
is interesting.
Yes, self-proclaimed interesting podcast indeed. Yeah, I've heard more than once from people say that in their 30s they start to like themselves more,
Yeah.
and I could agree from my own experience. Yeah, I'm starting to like myself a lot more than I did in my 20s, and that for me is the my priority measure. Actually, do I
Can
feel
you
like
tell us
me
one thing that you like about yourself more?
more than I used to? Good question. More than I used to. Well, I'll tell you what. Growing up, I identified as an extrovert, and I reckon anyone who knew me as a child would agree that I was definitely extroverted.
Hmm.
Somehow, that's kind of flipped. Maybe not a whole 180 flip, but throughout my 20s, I developed a lot more introversion or introvertious tendencies.
Yes, introvertious,
introverted
yes.
introverted tendencies. And at first I was really resistant to it, to be honest with you. And I like introverts, but initially I was like, this is not me. It doesn't feel like me. I don't like it. I don't like that I might feel a bit uncomfortable around new people. I don't like that I feel like I've got to leave the party because my energy's low, or that I want to decline plans because I'd rather just hang out by myself. I didn't really like that at first, but I've really come around to it, I think. And I guess accepted. Like, I don't know why it's changed, and maybe it will change again in the future, but why not just honor how it is that you feel? There's nothing wrong with it. And I love introverts too. Like, it's fine. So that's something I've learned to like about myself more. What's something you've learned to like about yourself?
Me? Like myself? I don't know. I might have to get back to you on that one. I think that was more of a 20s thing for me rather than. I'll try and think of something that's a bit more recent.
Yeah. Maybe we can leave this episode on a cliffhanger. We can revisit.
Next time, find out what Sasha thinks she likes more about herself than she did before.
This summer.
Yeah, should we try and figure out a jingle? Or something?
That's the intention. I did realize today, though, because something Sasha and I have discussed before was maybe like singing a bit of a jingle at the start of an episode, which I love that idea. But I don't know whether it would sync up properly when we're doing remote recording, or if we would end up like a second behind the other person.
You'd hope so. But, interesting.
Hope so. We could test it, or we could just record it.
We could test it, or if there's like a huge lag, it can be a stylistic choice.
Right, it's like a, what you call it? Like
a staggered melody or something. Is that what it's called?
There's a term. There's like a choir term when you. Is it called
can you hear my throat getting like more and more mucusy?
Sasha's recovering from a cold. Yeah, I'm hoping you don't hear too much spit noises and things up in here against the mic. No, this is not the place for it. This is not the place.
Nowhere is the place for it.
Where's the place for it?
Nowhere.
Nowhere. Well, you got the ASMR. ASMR place? No. Okay.
Kill it.
I like ASMR, and to be honest, I sometimes like mouth noises. So
I love ASMR.
If you don't know what this is going to sound crazy. Noises. So maybe go figure out what ASMR is if you're curious. But anyway, all right. Well, I think so. We've put in a pretty decent shift in for our first episode.
Okay.
I did enjoy dipping our toes into these topics.
But do you want to try and make a jingle like now?
Oh God. No, let's do it another time. I was honestly thinking of like actually trying to write one on the piano or the guitar, like just a like a 2-bar jingle.
Should we have the name in it? Like
I think absolutely
something. Na 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 na. Living your crisis authentically.
Oh, that was quite good actually.
Thank you.
Was that straight off the top of the dome?
Yeah.
Very
just
good.
Off my dome.
I would maybe do it like 2/3 of the length though.
So
I reckon people only have attention. Yeah, I reckon people only have attention for like 5 seconds of music.
Huh. Well, then what are they doing here? How long have we been talking? 42 minutes and 28 seconds. How? Wow, impressive attention span, guys.
In this day and age? Wow.
Yeah, in this economy.
exactly. But anyway,
That's
stay
me.
tuned for the reveal of our jingle whenever
Yes,
it
and
does
my thing that I
hit
like
us.
about myself.
Indeed.
And do
Yeah,
you know the
we'll be
topic of our
waiting with bated
next
breath.
episode?
Do we? Do we know the topic of our next episode?
Do we?
Do we?
Do we? No.
No.
Okay then. Stay tuned
You could
anyway.
tell. You could tell how organized we are about this.
I mean, you've been pretty organized.
Yeah. Wait
Oh,
till this
Tanya's
all
a
gets out
project
of
manager, or
control.
she was, by the way. So
Yeah, can you
she's.
believe it?
I
Can
can
you
believe
actually
it.
believe it?
But it is like quite surprising if you'd known you as a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of things might be. Well,
I
maybe
think
not.
mine too. Sorry, this is like starting a new topic. But I
Mm-hmm.
think, like, in a way, we kind of swapped some of our personality
Hmm.
qualities as we grew older. Like, um,
Maybe we inspired each other.
I'm crying my makeup off from laughing. Um, like, I'm a teacher, and that is like such a social job and such a kind of altruistic kind of job that we would have expected you to have. And
Hmm.
you're a project manager, which is a very
Hmm.
organizational job, which we would have expected me to have.
I'm not just a project manager, FYI, but
Okay,
it
sorry,
is one of
I
the
don't
hats I
really
wore.
understand what you did, but anyway,
Yeah, I know. No
it's
one who
over now,
ever
so I
works in
don't need to
corporate
learn it.
understands. Yeah, exactly. No one who ever works in corporate understands what the hell is going on in corporate and like what jobs people actually have because they're just so meaningless or like just difficult to define unless you know all the lingo and all the corporate structure. But anyway,
Anyway,
whole other topic. But yeah, I that's an interesting observation that maybe we've swapped qualities. And I think I can almost pinpoint the moment in time where our personalities converged. Don't you
well,
think?
we should maybe with this should be the topic of our next episode.
Could be. Where
Maybe,
personalities
or maybe
converged.
people aren't interested in our personalities yet, and we need to still hook
No, no,
them with
no.
some I don't
Actual
know.
personality. So yeah, I mean, stay tuned for the next topic. Whatever, you'll see, you'll see. But I hope you had a laugh or two from
It'll be
today's
something.
conversation. Maybe a bit of resonance. Um,
And echoing, and maybe
Going.
dissonance.
Wow. Yes, I didn't realize that was something we were aiming for from this project. But yeah, great bonus if you did get any of that. So again, follow, like, give us a comment, give us your feedback. Thank you, Sa. That was
Thank
a
you,
lovely
Ta.
conversation. And see you all next time.
Bye.
Bye.